Coach John here. In this video, I'm going to explain and demonstrate how I prepare vegetables. Why prepare vegetables? Well, if you have vegetables prepared, that is chopped and ready to eat in a container, you are more likely to eat your vegetables. And in addition, let's say I'm making an omelet. I will often have some chopped cabbage and peppers and onion in containers ready to go, so that when it comes time to making an omelet, all I need to do is scoop out some of those vegetables into the pan, and that's pretty much it. You just let things cook and you're done. It doesn't take a lot of time. So preparing food ahead of time is very, very important to ensure success with your nutrition. That way you don't have any excuses not to eat well. Okay, so what do you need? Well, let's see how well I can, this isn't working very well. So obviously you can't chop vegetables with vegetables. You're gonna need a sharp implement. So I have two knives here. This knife here, forgive my pronunciation, is a Zwilling Henkel's knife. The Zwilling brand of Henkel's has two men on it, which indicates a higher quality steel than the single man Henkel's knives. These knives with the yellow handles are commonly used by professional chefs. I used to work in a restaurant many years ago, and these were commonly used. The nice thing about these knives is they're very inexpensive for the quality you are getting. This knife is about $35 or $40, I think, for this chef's knife. Now, on the other hand, I have a Wusthof knife here. This knife, brand new, is about, I'm just ballparking here, about $130 to $150, and we're talking Canadian dollars here. This knife is a lot more expensive. To me, it doesn't really do much of a better job. It has a little bit more weight to it, but if you want to save some money and get a really good knife, this is the one to go with. So this is the one we'll be using. And additionally, you want to make sure your knife is very sharp. Remember, sharp is safe, dull is dangerous. So to start out, and of course, cutting board, you don't want to be chopping on a hard countertop or making cut marks on your whatever other countertop you're using. I mean, if you're using a butcher block, then it's fine, of course. So a good cutting surface. So let's start with peppers. Oh, and let's back up one more time. Of course, you're going to want to have some containers to put your freshly chopped up food into. And then I also have another container here just to throw in the scraps, just so they don't end up all over the place. Okay, so for the third time, we'll start with the peppers. So the way I start by chopping a pepper is I just take the sides off, because you know peppers have all those little seeds in them and they get all over the place. It's really irritating. So to avoid that, now this usually works, so let's hope it works here, is I just start by cutting off the sides like that. So far so good. And then you won't get the seeds in everything. See, so now I've basically cut all the sides off the pepper, and then what I do is I slice off the bottom, so we don't want to waste any food. And look, I've got all these pepper pieces off the pepper with no seeds. The seeds are all in the middle still. And then I can always just clip off any extra bits of pepper on the side. Just like that. And then we have our scrap bin there, one pepper done. So one other thing to note when holding your knife is you don't want to hold it by the handle. You don't get as much control here. You want to have your index finger on one side of the blade and your thumb on the other side of the blade. You get much more control that way. Okay, so let's do this red one. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that one didn't quite go as planned. I got a few seeds in here, but all I'm going to do is turn it over and knock the seeds out. Or you can flick it. Flicking it works quite well. So that's good. There's one little seed in there. Flick that off. No seeds in that one. Chop the bottom off just like we did on the yellow pepper. And scrap goes in there. And then the seeds, I'll just carefully scrape, slide the edge of the blade underneath the seeds and wipe them off. Done. Peppers are done. So now what we're going to do is we'll just chop them up. You can also use the blade of your knife to knock off any extra seeds. Funny how they keep appearing now. Perfect. So now I want to have these peppers sliced for my omelet or just ready to eat. Have them in slices that are easily easy to handle. But I'm going to actually dice these peppers up because I'm going to use them in an omelet at some point. Now, when you're holding your vegetable with your hand, you don't want your fingers sticking out like this. So curl your fingers in so that the knife is resting against your fingers like that. So then you can't chop your fingers off, you see? You're going to use your knuckles kind of as a guide for the knife. So I'll typically just pinch the end of the vegetable on one side just to kind of support it and then go along like that. I'm not a professional chopper, but what I do, so I can do the whole pretty much pepper at once, is I'll go like this. I'll start here. Always put the end of your knife down first so that you've got kind of an anchor, if that makes sense, and then you can go down. If you're like this and then it slides off, you might cut yourself. So what I do is I start there, point down, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the whole pepper chopped. Done. Essentially the whole pepper chopped. Or you could do one slice at a time. But why do one slice at a time when you can do most of them together? So that's done there. Okay, so you get the idea with the peppers. Slice, slice. And then I can slice, I line them all up. Slice, slice, slice. Okay, I'm sure there's many other videos out there that are much more instructional when it comes to chopping, so that's not really what this is for. So we'll just skip these peppers here for now. You get the idea. You don't need to see me chopping those up. Now, carrots, you don't have to peel the carrots. You can actually eat the peel. But if you've never peeled a carrot before, this is how you do it. Start at the top. What I like to do is just go to the bottom. And better yet, you can go into your scrap container. Then you're not having to pick up the scraps after. And that's that. So one carrot peeled, chop the end off, chop this off. And then what I like to do is chop it in half. So point down first. This is really, really important here when you're doing vegetables that roll, because you could roll off the vegetable and cut yourself. So I put one finger on either side, put the point down first, and then I start slicing into the end, because we want to be safe. Nobody wants to be losing their fingers. Or fingertips. Throw that in the container we have that's ready to go. 1, 2, and sometimes I'll cut these up into another slice if they're a really wide carrot. 3, 4, done. So that's how I do a carrot. Now next we have onion. Might as well chop this up so it's ready to go. So with the onion, I start like this. So I go one, I slice the rings off, or I slice rings. And then when you get to about halfway, it gets a little dicey because the onion tends to want to roll. So when I get near the end, what I do to get that last slice is I come at it this way. So I've got it in there, and then I'll go back down. And then I've essentially got all my slices. That's kind of a bit of a peel almost. And then to dice the onion, I do it in two sections. So I'll do half at a time. First I'll cut this in half, move that over, and then I'm going to start just doing little chops all the way along as I rotate the onion. Then you get nice little diced pieces. So the way that looks is, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, probably don't need to count. There, so those are some pretty good little diced pieces, and we'll just put those back in here, just like that. So, see how the onion is chopped? We'll just do this one as well. And then we're gonna go to the purple cabbage and get that one ready to go. I like having purple cabbage on hand as it's a great addition to many recipes. Stir fries, soups, stews, slow cooker recipes, etc. So we'll deal with the onion later because otherwise I'll start crying. Okay, so we got our onion, we got our carrot, we got our pepper, even though I didn't quite finish it, but there you go. We got our scrap container, and now we're going to do the cabbage. Now, something to make note of here. The onion will transfer its flavor to other ingredients. So if you don't want your cabbage tasting like onion, then maybe save the onion for the end. And you could also just save your onion to the end. And if you want, in between preparing the other vegetables, you could give your knife a quick rinse if you wanted to, but I don't bother with that. I just chop everything at once. But next time I'd probably chop the onion at the end. So cabbage, this one's already been chopped into a little bit, but you're going to want to take the outermost peel off to make sure you don't have any residual dirt or sprays on it. And that's that. And then I cut the end off like this. And then you want to have a flat surface. So when you're starting off with a whole cabbage, I'll usually chop one end off so you have a flat surface to work with. And then you can start taking slices off your cabbage. See how I'm going point first, down, and then I bring the handle down. So that's a good portion of cabbage. Now that I've got it like this, I'm going to slice it this way because I want to have fine little cabbage pieces, and then I'm going to slice it across the other way. So I'm going to slice this. And then I take the whole thing and I'm going to go back across like that. This guy got away. And that's the cabbage. So you can do it that fast. I should have timed myself, but really, to do a cabbage doesn't take very long. So then we're going to get it into the container, hopefully without making a big mess anywhere. And we'll chop up the other piece, and then that's essentially it. So I hope this helps you see just how quickly and easily you can prepare your vegetables. So it takes some practice, and with the right tools, you can quickly prep your veggies. Look at that. all nicely chopped. That's it. And to get more space, make more space in your container. Give it a little shake so things settle and fill in the voids. Probably have to use another container for this, but that's okay because we have one right here. So that's it. If you found this useful, please let me know. If there's any other vegetables that you'd like to see me prepare, then don't hesitate to let me know. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.